Yeah, what good? EZilla here with another EZilla99 podcast episode 2. We are already at episode 2, so that is quite something. So, yeah, we're already at episode 2. I was honestly quite surprised of the amount of views I've gotten from the first episode. Gotten as of making this podcast. It has 279 views, which is pretty good for the most part. Yeah. So in any case, I wanted to go out and discuss about some other things, because on this channel, you hear me talk a lot about different things. You hear me talk about anime. You hear me talk about Godzilla. You hear me talk about Ultraman. You hear me talk about Gamera occasionally. Kong, Jurassic Park. There's so many different things I love to talk about when it comes to my favorite shit that I like to watch in like certain media or whatever. But this is for this episode, I wanted to dedicate this episode for something that I also really like a lot and something I don't really bring up a lot because honestly, because when it comes down to it, I don't really have much really else to talk about it. But I mean, you can kind of see it from the title or something like that. But yeah, I want to talk to you guys a bit about Kamen Rider and the Super Sentai. So anyway, on today's podcast, I wanted to dedicate this whole thing to one episode of at least discussing about Kamen Rider, because for those out there who are into Kamen Rider, there's going to be a new Kamen Rider show coming on September 5th, and that is Kamen Rider Revice. And I myself am honestly just really looking forward to it. Fucking hell. I've seen some clips of from the movie, cause here's the thing. There's a whole thing to discuss about this, cause Kamen Rider Revice, they actually made their first appearance in a crossover film. The crossover film being called Kamen Rider Saber plus Kikai Sentai Senkaiger Superhero Senki, which is essentially an entire crossover between two of probably the greatest like franchises, Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, of course. But anyway, so like when it comes down to it, we're this was the very first appearance of the two Revice duos. Yeah, so we're getting two Kamen Riders for this show. But of course, they first made their debut in this crossover film. I did see the way their transformation works, and it's honestly pretty interesting. It kind of like there's this whole sequence of like this character who goes by Vice. He goes around the main host, which is the host being named Iki Igarashi. He goes around him, spins around while he's activating his belt right there. He turns into one of the forms of Rex, and you just hear the Rex, and this and that. You just hear that whole sort of thing. I don't know why it sounded so much like a Yu-Gi-Oh kind of like thing. Like goes, it's time to do or something like that. I don't know what the fuck. It sounded similar to that. I was just like, what the hell? And I saw the whole transformation. It was freaking awesome. Like you see, the character Revi, he turns into, what he places on his belt. And of course, that being the Rex form. And, since he transforms into that, Vice also turns into a T-Rex. So it was it's honestly pretty sick for the most part. It was honestly really cool. And then in the same clip, he also turns into a Megalodon, and you see him, sporting some fins for his fin blades, as you could call it, because like he uses them as a blade from what I've seen from the clip. And of course, Vice looking like having the shark appearance, more of the Megalodon appearance. But yeah, that was as far as I seen from the crossover film. That's the only bit I've seen. I unfortunately have not seen the film. I really want to, and I've been searching high and low for the film, just somewhere where I could watch it. Like I don't know, and at this point, I've kind of just like been hoping to see maybe if like some friends of mine probably have the link to it, but so the crossover film is probably the greatest thing ever. I don't know why, like just throughout my entire like this some the like I play like these other like sort of medias, like I play these games and all that, and they're having crossovers, and like just recently there was like a Honkai and Genshin Impact crossover, that one was great. And now we're getting this, and then there's a whole bunch of crossovers going on, and it is really awesome. It really is. But yeah, I just wanted to discuss a little bit more on Kamen Rider Revice a bit, and I wanted to discuss of like Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, because why the fuck not? But yeah, from what I was able to gather from like info of the summary of the show is basically the plot is just Deadman's is an organization that worship demons. Through the use of mysterious misstamps, monsters called Deadman are born from within humans, which is what here I'll put a picture up here. This is what I'm thinking that's what he's referring to, the stamps of those, because like he stamps that for the belt, and you get Vice going around him, so I'm guessing that's a demon. So I'm pretty I think Vice is a demon then, because the whole gimmick that he's going for Vice, and like what he's like, the way he moves and all that, it kind of seems in some ways spiritual in some ways, I guess. Anyway, continuing on, fighting to protect his family from Deadman's clutches is Iki Igarashi. He himself has contract with Vice, a demon that lives within Iki's body. You see? Well, fucking hell. Well, there you go. Vice is a demon that is attached to Iki's body. So there you go. It's kind of like a whole, like, well, I mean, not really. Kinda like Venom, I guess. So anyway, continue on. Together they transform into two Kamen Riders. Iki has Kamen Rider Revi, and Vice has Kamen Rider Vice. Together they are Kamen Rider Revice. So there you go. That's pretty much the synopsis or plot to the entirety of the show. So yeah, there's gonna be an organization called Deadman. It's kind of like how Kamen Rider from 1971 had Shocker. It's an organization called Shocker. So yeah, I like it. Deadman. It's a kind of interesting name for an organization, I guess you could say. So but yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. So let me just show you guys the designs of the characters here. So here we have Revi and Vice here. So as you can see, Revi's design is really just, I already love Revi's design. Like, I don't know, like the first time, like for me, like the first time when I saw the pink, I was just like, pink? What the fuck? But at the same time, but then at the same time, it's like, I kind of got used to it. So I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah, he's all right. But like, just obviously, looking at the design, this is his Rex form, of course. He kind of has a bit of a Venom design, I guess you could say. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, his design kind of looks like if Venom was in a tokusatsu show that happened to be Kamen Rider. I don't know. And then he happened to be pink, I guess. I don't know. But all I know is that when I saw that, I immediately thought like I could draw like a fucking Revi mixed with Venom and shit. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I had that shit in my mind. So like I was like, I could probably do that. Anyway, but yeah, just overall looking at the design, as you can see, we get like, I don't know why. I don't know. It's just the design. It just looks really nice. I like it. I really do. It's just like the way he's posed and then everything else like that. Like I've seen the transformation and all that, of course. But yeah, I really dig the design of this character, Revi. He really is neat. And then here we have him in his Megalodon form, which is apparently from what the stamps are supposed to be. The Megalodon is supposed to be Decade. So As you can see, it kind of has like a Decade design. In case you guys don't know who Decade is, it's Kamen Rider Decade, which is pretty interesting. And Decade has a bit of it had I'm like Decade is kind of familiar to me in my childhood, which is I'll discuss a little bit more later on in the podcast, because Decade has a bit of things in my childhood. So anyway, discuss going into it. As you can see, this is the Megalodon form for Revy. This is really nice. I really like the design here. Yeah, just, it's really neat. You see, you got the blades for the fins right there, so that's really cool. You got the teeth right there, obviously, and I don't know. Like, I like the Megalodon form, but I honestly really love the Rex form, because it's just the Rex form is just that form is just really awesome. I just love that form. Anyway, speaking of the stamps, actually, before we go into Vice, I want to discuss apparently from the leaks that were apparently true, according to from a Discord server that I'm in. Apparently, these are apparently true of what the stamps are going to be called. So obviously we have Rex, the stamp of Rex, which is for Revice. Megalodon, like I mentioned before, is going to be for Decade. Lion, which is for Kuga, Comrade Kuga. And then Terra, which is like a Pteranodon, I guess you could say, and it's for Vice, or Vice. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, but anyway. And then we have Mammoth for Den O. And then Eagle from W, Gorilla from Vorse, Mantis from Gaim, and Jackal from Xaid, and Brachio from Zeo. So we got a bunch of these stamps here. So obviously it's a mix, it's a mix of different species of animals. So it's honestly a pretty neat little thing here. And of course, they all seem to be affiliated with each different Kamen Rider. So we got Kamen Rider Forest, we got Kamen Rider Xaid, Kamen Rider Zeo. All these other Kamen Riders are going to be affiliated. So it's kind of like, I guess you could say, like, I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to piss off some diehard Kamen Rider fans out there, but like, I guess you could say it's kind of like a fusion between like say for example, like similar to how like the new gen Ultras use like Ultraman or Tiga to fuse into like something, I don't know. I probably pissed off one particular person. I'm not gonna say his name, but I'm pretty sure I pissed off one person already. But I mean, it's maybe I might be wrong. I don't know, but that's just how it seems like from what I'm seeing from the leaks here. But yeah, this is really cool as well. So we're going into Vice now. Vice's design for the Rex is awesome. I really love it. As much as I love the Revy's design for Rex, his whole spiel is that he's essentially like, he has the T-Rex head. He has the Rex head. Like, I don't know, that's honestly pretty cool. Now, again, with the same thing with Revy's Megalodon design, you can see here, this is the Megalodon design for Vice here. I'm not really a huge fan of the Megalodon form that he takes. Like, I don't know, like, it's still pretty cool. I really like it, but it's like, I don't know. It's like the Rex designs, the Rex forms are just really, really neat, and I just really appreciate that a lot. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes down to it. Now, I want to show you guys something here. This is something that I wanted to show after I saw something. This has nothing to do with too much of like, I mean, it kind of has something to do with the show, but it's like, it has more to do with like the way Bandai made some of these figures here. All right, so obviously, seeing as there's a new Kamen Rider show, there's always going to be some cool toys out there. So obviously, here's some pretty cool ones right here. As you can see, we got the Ion Blade. the freaking gun blade thing. Yeah, this thing right here is really cool. I really do like this whole gimmick of like being a gun and a blade at the same time. It's really cool. But that's not what I wanted to discuss here. Here is this. All right. So this is the Comradery Revice figure, which is it's basically an articulated set of two of Revi and Vice. Now, you're seeing some of the promotional pictures here, and then you go to this picture right here. I honestly really hope this isn't how how it'll be in the show. Obviously this is for promotional stuff and is also a toy. Keep in mind. For all I know, this may not be like in the show, but like, come on, dude. Why does Vice have his fucking face on Revi's ass, dude? Bro, like, just, oh man. But besides that humorous little detail right there, the form here that they take here is really cool looking. It's like it's essentially a Tyrannosaurus, it's really cool looking. I for one am not going to be putting them in that form, like, and by that I mean I already purchased or pre-ordered one of these things. Actually, I'm not going to put them in that form, however. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. All right, I just wanted to point that out because it was honestly pretty funny, and I wanted to discuss it here. Anyway, so yeah, other than that though, I haven't seen too much on any clips on Revi or Vice. I kind of want to limit myself from seeing it. Like, the only clip I've seen is the transformation scene, because I really want to see this film, the crossover film. But I don't want to see any spoilers too much. So I don't know. So I only watched that clip. So I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna watch that, and that's it. So I haven't seen both of these Kamwriters in action, so I don't really know how their fighting tactics are or anything like that. But yeah. So other than that though, when it comes down to it, I cannot wait for September 5th, because that is a really awesome day for some Kamwriter shows. Because that particular day is going to be great to see some Revice. So that, yeah, like, obviously, just, it's pretty obvious from me talking about this. I really am looking forward to it. Like, just for the fact of like it being like the designs of the characters, and from what I've seen from the transformations and the plot synopsis here, this could be a pretty neat Kamen Rider show for the most part. So honestly, I myself am looking forward to it. So there's something right there. But yeah. Okay, now moving on from Revice here, I wanted to discuss a little bit more on Kamen Rider and what it has to do with my childhood, because it's time for some old classic EZilla childhood story time. So yeah, this is the story of how I got into Kamen Rider, just Kamen Rider, really. So pretty much, essentially, was at the time I was like probably 12, 13. I got my very first phone, of course. Never had a phone from that time. Having a phone was like a new type of shit at the time too. So it was like, I've always usually we're like, I usually, you're like at that age, like at the time, you didn't really worry about technology all that much. When you're a kid, like at the time, in the early 2000s, like 2010s, I guess you could say, you don't really worry about phones or anything like that. You just enjoy life, being a kid, playing outside, all this and that. But like at the time, in the early like 2013s, around there, I got my very first phone. Wanted to look up some Godzilla or Ultraman games. Obviously, there was not too much Godzilla or Ultraman games. But there was a very interesting Kamen Rider app, particularly the Comradery Decade app. I don't know if this app still exists, but essentially what this app does is that it gives you the illusion that you're holding your like the belt. It's the belts from Decade. And whenever there's a button you press that button and you hear the sound that it makes. And you hear the Kamen Rider Decay. You hear that, and then there's like flashing noises here and there going off and all that. And then you see all these other Kamwriter symbols. I don't remember what the symbols were. I do know they had something to do with something. I know they had something to do with it. But and so right after that, I really did love the gimmick. I really liked what it was. So what I did was that I looked up what that was. Kamen Rider Decade. There was quite a few results, and right there was when I was hooked. Obviously, I guess you could say Kamen Rider Decade was the Kamen Rider that I was first introduced to. And when I first saw that show, I will admit this, I didn't finish the entire show because at the time there wasn't really too much episodes out there. Like I mentioned before, like when it comes to Ultraman and stuff like that, at the time it was really hard to find just any full episodes, really. And with subtitles, so I couldn't really understand it. So I had to really just had to guess what the fuck they were talking about. So there wasn't that much episodes of Decade, unfortunately. There probably is now, but at the time there wasn't. But I saw what I could, and I saw the sequence when he transforms with the Decade belt. And honestly, it was really cool seeing that, honestly. And then I find out that there is a whole bunch of Kamen Riders out there. And I did further research, and of course I went to watch the very first one that started it all, which is just Kamen Rider from 1971 through 1973. During that time, it was actually from what I've heard from people, it was the tokusatsu boom of the 70s. There was so many tokusatsu shows, so many tokusatsu films going off in the 70s. Like there was Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Ultraman Jack, and of course Kamen Rider was the one that first debuted in the 70s. When I saw Kamen Rider from 1971, that show was honestly really cool. I really enjoyed the way the characters fight and the drama in that show. It was really just interesting altogether. And of course, over time in the show, there was a different Kamen Rider that changed its color. There was one that was more of a dark blue with reddish looking eyes. It was light red, but it wasn't red as the other Kamen Rider that is pretty well known. Honestly, when it comes down to it, I honestly prefer Ichigo, which is this particular Kamen Rider here. That Kamen Rider is honestly I really love the most and all that. But yeah, other than that though, when it comes down to it, that was when I watched every single Showa Kamen Rider show from that point. There were some other Kamen Rider shows that I watched as well, which was Kamen Rider Amazons, Kamen Rider Build, and most recently right now was Kamen Rider 01. That show, Kamen Rider 01 in particular, I did watch a bit episodes. I will admit I did not watch all of the episodes of 01 because of I was watching some other episodes at the time, so I couldn't finish 01 at the time. So, it sucks. But I don't know. I'll probably finish the rest of the show because so far I've really enjoyed the episode so far. I just had some other episodes I wanted to catch up on. So, but anyway, There was also, Kamen Rider Stronger, Shin Kamen Rider, of course, which was a film from the 90s. And then Kamen Rider Kuga, Kamen Rider Decade, of course, Kamen Rider Force, and Kamen Rider Skull. Yeah, when it comes down to it, like those shows that I just mentioned, those have my favorite Kamen Riders. There's Shin, of course, Kuga, Decade. Yeah, when I've heard from some people, Decade wasn't their favorite show, which honestly, was kind of like even looking at it nowadays as like a more grown person, yeah, I could kind of sort of see why, but I don't know. It's probably just the childhood thing that's really making me say like, this show, I really enjoy this show. But and honestly, when it comes down to it, the design of Decade, I really love the design of Decade. But yeah, I mean, not as much as Ichigo, of course. Ichigo is my favorite design, honestly. But yeah, Decades is really cool as well. So there was this one show from Comrade that I didn't enjoy. I kind of put it in the same line as Ultraman Ginga because, in a way, this show started when Ginga started, or it was probably earlier or later on. I'm not sure. It was Kamen Rider X-Aid. I was not a huge fan of that show in particular. I did not like the concept. I did not like the designs of the Kamen Riders, of the writers in particular, X-Aid. I don't know. I just didn't really. I wasn't really a huge fan of it. Not gonna lie. I will admit this. I will admit this. Battle Game, which is a song for the show, it was pretty catchy. I like that song. It was pretty neat. Other than that, though, that's pretty much it when it comes to cover XA. That's the only thing I like. But I honestly just wasn't a huge fan of that particular show. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not a bad show. It's just for me personally, the concept of the show, of it being like a gaming sort of thing. I wasn't really a huge fan of that. And the design of the writer XA, I didn't like that design at all. It was it was stupid, honestly. I don't know. But yeah, so there's that. But yeah, when it comes down to it, Kamen Rider has really just is something that I really just need to talk a lot more about because it's just it really is because the franchise is really great. Like the characters, the way that they're portrayed, the drama in these shows, the transformations, the action. There are so many positive things you could see from Kamen Rider, man. Like there's so many great things. Um, but yeah, other than that though, guys, when it comes down to it, like that was pretty much my, I guess you could say, my little chant of like just talking about my favorite writers and sort of a little tidbit on my childhood, I guess you could say, because Kamen Rider Decade really did was the one that started it all for me. Like that was the very first thing I was introduced to Kamen Rider. Was like if I didn't look up that app and then search up Kamen Rider Decade, bro, I probably would. I mean, I would know what Kamen Rider is, but like a typical Godzilla fan, I wouldn't expand my horizons. Nah, I'm playing. But you know, yeah, just Kamen Rider is really just a great franchise, and honestly, to all Godzilla fans and Ultraman fans, I really highly suggest you check out some Kamen Rider shows if you can, because these shows are really great. They really are, and you're not gonna regret it. You really aren't. So, but yeah. Okay, since we're on the discussion of Super Sentai, I wanted to talk a little bit on that one also, because unlike Kamen Rider, I'll admit this, I haven't seen every single show from the Heisei era to the Heisei era all the way to the end of the Heisei era. Like I've seen some shows from the Heisei era, but not all of them. I've seen everything from the Showa era, and I've seen some shows from the Reiwa era of Kamen Rider. Um, when it comes to Super Sentai, I I'll admit it, I don't really watch a whole lot of Sentai. I have, of course, seen some of it. Like probably the first thing that comes to mind, the very first show that I was introduced to was Kyoryu Sentai Zu Ranger. And of course, in the US, you guys would know it as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But yeah, like I was first introduced to this show for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and of course, seeing like sort of the action and all that, it kind of looked iffy. It kind of looked strange to me, I guess you could say. So I looked up Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then and then there was an alternate title which was Kyoryu Sentai Zu Ranger. I freaking, I stitched that up, and there was a Japanese version of it. And I was like, what? There's a Japanese version of this show? And I'm like, holy crap. Like, I'm over here thinking, like, it was I was over here thinking that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was popular in the US, so they made a Japanese version in Japan. But it turns out it was the other way around. So, yeah, it was popular in Japan, and therefore US made their own version of it, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and just like they took the footage from the Japanese version, but added actors from the US. But anyway, when it comes down to it, when it comes to Super Sentai, as a whole, obviously when it comes down to it, the franchise as a whole is honestly amazing. It's really just honestly really cool just seeing robots, these giant Zords or whatever, duking it out with some of the monsters and all that, and humanoid kaijins and all that. It's really just awesome. Those whole sequences. Of course, the one that started it all, like with Super Sentai, was Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger. And those type of shows, that was the one that started it all. I'll admit I've seen a few episodes of that show, but I haven't seen the entirety of the show. So when it comes down to it, like, these are the only shows I've seen when it comes to like some of the episodes and all that. I've seen Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger, of course, Samurai Sentai Shinkenger, Tenso Sentai Go Sager, Kaizoku Sentai Go Kaiger, Kyoryu Sentai Zu Ranger, of course, I just mentioned that. And of course, the recent one that I've seen, because a friend of mine kept plastering it all over his Instagram and I wanted to check it out, was Kikai Sentai Zen Kaiger. That show in particular was really interesting. I really liked that show, honestly, because the design of the main ranger, or the main Sentai, had a lot of resemblance to one of the Sentais from Go Ranger. So it's really that show was pretty neat. I liked it a bit. But yeah, I liked it. So it was really cool. When it comes to like some of my favorite robots, my favorite Megazords, I guess you could say. Oh man, I don't even know if that's what they're called, but I'm gonna call that because that's how I know it. Oh man, I'm already getting people already going on my ass already. Was cute. With this particular Zord is called Gyozujin, which is how I was first introduced to it by Q-Rex Megazord. Yeah, this one in particular, Gyozujin, this one in particular is awesome. I really fucking love this. The fact that it turns into like 3 forms at once. It turns into its Megazord form, it turns into its Q-Rex form, it turns into a drill form, the Q drill form. It was freaking awesome. It's freaking awesome. I really love this fucking Zord, and I've seen it in action. It is so freaking cool the way it takes on its enemies. Oh my god. Like, I don't know. I can go on and on, but goddamn, dude. But yeah, when it comes down to it, when it comes between both Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, I've seen a lot more Kamen Rider than I do with Super Sentai. Like, I don't know why. Like, I really should, honestly. I really should, because like I mentioned before, like I really love the action sequences of the characters and the monsters and the Megazords. You know, they're the way how they are. It's really just really awesome, and you can really feel in some shots and some sequences of some of the episodes. You can really feel the power of some of these Megazords, and they're really just amazing. And not to mention, there's also some very serious or like suspenseful like sequences in some episodes. Like it is really like the show itself, the franchise itself is really great. So honestly, I really should get around to watching a few Super Sentai shows while I'm at it, cause goddamn. Um, but yeah, other than that though, when it comes down to it, you know, these two shows, these two franchises, Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, they're both gonna be crossing over in a freaking film that just came out. And for the life of me, can I please have a link to the freaking film? I really want to watch it. Goddamn, dude. Oh my freaking god. Oh man. And it's for the 50th and 45th anniversary of both shows too, man. Like that is so freaking crazy that, you know, it's already the anniversary. It is really awesome. It really is. Like it is a real honor to be a Tokusatsu fan when it comes to like just watching these shows. Like it is great to be a Tokusatsu fan, you know, when it comes down to it, you know. A lot of great show, a lot of good shit, man. A lot of good fucking shit coming out, dude. I swear. Apparently, and there's also a catchphrase from the film too. It's called straight. They say like straightforward heroes, half of the century. I dig it. I dig that. That is really really neat. I like it. But anyway, though, that's pretty much what it is, really. All right, next topic. Playmates toys. Yeah, particularly from the Godzilla era. Yeah, so I wanted to discuss a little bit more on the toys of the Playmates Godzilla toys because there's things I wanted to discuss about when it comes down to like where they've been and how they've really just improved a lot when it comes to making their figures. Like the first time I was first introduced to Playmates was for the Peter Jackson's King Kong toys. You know, just the fact that like you know those toys were really really well done. Like I don't know what team was a part of making those particular toys, but they did a really good job. Like I'm literally looking at the Playmates V-Rex, the Bold V-Rex right now. And that is honestly really like I mean probably not very very accurate to the film version, but it really like you look at that and it's like yeah, that's the V-Rex. Like it is really fucking good. And so when I heard that Playmates was going to be making Godzilla toys, I was honestly very like excited. To be, like, there's no other way of putting it. I was pretty excited because you know I've seen like how they've done like some of the Kong figures for King Kong from 2005. So obviously you know I was kind of like hoping like maybe they'll have that sort of way of making the toys. You know. Yeah, it didn't really work out well. You know, the first images we've seen was Space Godzilla and Shin Godzilla. These particular toys were the ones that were a subject of ridicule. There was so much memes, so much hate. As like it hasn't even reached stores worldwide. It was on only one store. And it was these images that was taken of these toys, and it was so like just bruh. And then the Playmates toys was a huge discussion at the time when they first debuted. Obviously they were releasing it for at the time when the Playmates for Godzilla vs Kong, you know, they wanted to make toys for it. They got the licensing for it. You know, I won't lie, okay? As a person that collects both official and knockoff Godzilla toys. These toys weren't too bad, but at the same time, yeah, that Shin Godzilla is straight up just a NECA Godzilla remolded, and you guys just basically stole that, and NECA was not aware of it. So yeah, that is something right there. Not to mention the fact that they even packaged the Bandai figures too, which were Bandai creations, and then they sold it to Bandai, and then Bandai sold it back to Playmates, I guess. I don't know. I don't know about that whole thing with like if Bandai sold the licensing figures to Playmates. I don't think that's true. But the point is, they repackaged the Bandai creation figures, particularly King Caesar, freaking Mecha Godzilla 1974, Godzilla 1968, and I think there was a Gigan 1972. I think. I'm not sure. The Showa Gigan, I guess you could call it. Yeah, I don't know if they released that one, but as far as I know, from what I've seen, they've only released King Caesar, Mecha Godzilla, and the Godzilla 1968. So there was that. And of course, Playmates, they made their own original monsters. You know, there was Space Godzilla, Shin Godzilla, and Destroyer, and what else? I think it was and Kong. There was 19 or 19. The 2017 Skull Island Kong figure. Apparently that figure in particular, some people actually really liked. But yeah, and of course, you know, they also made the 12-inch, 11-inch figures. Of course, I honestly really love the 11-inch figures of Playmates. They're really cool. I actually own the 2017 Kong figure from Kong Skull Island, and you know, that one's pretty cool. So I honestly don't regret buying that one. And of course, there's also the other freaking 11-inch figures for Godzilla vs. Kong. But we'll go to those later on. But yeah, other than that though, you know, we get these figures from Playmates, you know, we get these. I will admit, Space Godzilla, besides the goofy looking teeth, the way it is, it's actually not too bad, because it actually sizes up well next to some Godzilla figures with your 6 inches. Because I don't know, if you're a person that is all about accuracy when it comes to Godzilla figures, this Playmates Space Godzilla is the one to go to, because you know, Space Godzilla is technically supposed to be bigger in size when between Godzilla. So it's supposed to, basically Space Godzilla is supposed to be taller than Godzilla. So there's that. So honestly, yeah, that's your only option, I guess you could say. I don't know, maybe learn how to do some customs and something like that, fix the teeth, and then maybe rework on the paint, add some little details here and there, and boom, you got a really good Space Godzilla figure. So there you go. But yeah, besides that though, just everything else with the toys of the Playmates Godzilla figures from the first line were honestly a mixed bag for me. It was really, they were bad, they were good. There was so many things to them. And of course, at this point, they started releasing the Playmates Godzilla vs. Kong toys. You know, we've gotten skull crawlers, we've gotten the freaking, I already forgot what the fuck that thing was called. God damn, you can't be serious. Yeah, I forgot what it's called. Wow. The snake. Freaking. Ah, shit. You guys are probably putting in the chat right now what its name is. You guys are really huge fans of that monster in particular. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, I forgot what that monster is called. It is so freaking popular at the time, and I already forgotten what it is. Oh my god, that is. But yeah, they made that monster, And they made Mecha Godzilla, of course. They made Godzilla. They made Kong. They made all these freaking figures here and there. They made the 11-inch figures, which is something I actually picked up. Honestly, I wasn't really a huge fan of the 6-inch Godzilla vs Kong toys. I don't know. They're just not really my taste. I didn't really like them all too much. I did, however, love their 11-inch figures. That I actually purchased. I actually got those figures already. Which, if you guys follow me or you guys have subscribed to me to my channel, you guys would probably know that I already did a review on those guys. So, yeah, when it comes down to it, Warbat! I literally just remembered its name. Warbat. Yes, Warbat. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I forgot it. It's such a cheesy name, but it's also really cool. I can't believe I forgot that. Why? Anyway, Warbat. They made a Warbat toy, and that one was also good. Anyway, continuing on. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the 11-inch figures. Yeah, the 11-inch figures for Godzilla vs Kong were honestly really cool. I've gotten every single 11-inch figure from them. I also got the Skullcrawler. And honestly, let me discuss a little bit on the Skullcrawlers. The Skullcrawlers were probably the best thing they've ever made. They were hands down the greatest. I would say that the Playmates Skullcrawler is way better than the Leonard Toys Skullcrawler figure. Like, that one was shit. I freaking hated that Leonard Skullcrawler toy. That was so bad. The Playmates Skullcrawler is honestly the one to go to. This one was freaking awesome. The paint wasn't all too well, but at the same time, it was good. It was really good. Yeah, when it comes down to it, just everything about that was really awesome. I really like it. So, yeah, anyway, continuing on. Playmates just started making, Godzilla vs. Kong figures. They started releasing other figures as well. They started, as of recently, they released a black version of Mechagodzilla, which is supposed to be like the Hong Kong version, I guess you could say. Yeah, that one was something I'm not really gonna get. I'm not gonna get that because why bother? I already have a Mechagodzilla. Why am I gonna get two? Why? Because this one's black and this one has translucent red for spikes, and it has a beam. Nah. Anyway, we got that. We also have the Arctic Kong that'll be coming out soon as well. So this is that. It's pretty interesting how Playmates is still making all these, Godzilla vs. Kong figures. And yet, we still haven't gotten the Mega Mechagodzilla, which I'm still waiting for. I am waiting for that figure to come out, and I really hope it does come out eventually, because that would be a badass thing. And if we're going by the leaks here, it's pretty obvious they're gonna make it, because just look at the leaks here. Look at this. That is straight up a Mega Mechagodzilla. I really hope it's not canceled. Oh my god. Anyway, speaking of canceled toys, yeah. Remember that last episode of the podcast, I discussed how Goresaurus was canceled. Yeah, it turns out it's not. That Redditor on Godzilla, on r/Godzilla, was retarded. Just straight up. I'm pretty sure he was just pulling shit out of his ass, most likely. But honestly, at the same time, I don't blame the guy, because you see a bunch of these kind of posts saying how Goresaurus is going to be canceled because banned because of the Godzilla store wanting to make their Goresaurus figure, and they wanted to release it before that, whatever, yada yada yada. So honestly, I wouldn't really blame the guy, honestly. And I personally even said in the podcast, like, I even said it straight up, like, if it comes out, great. If it doesn't, oh well, like, I wasn't even denying that either. Like, if it was canceled, then yeah. But anyway, it turns out it is a fact official. Goresaurus is official, and not only is Gorosaurus is going to be made, and as of this podcast, it has already been sold in stores. It's already in stores right now. I personally have not checked my store in Target, so I don't really know if we have it over here. But yeah, anyway, besides Gorosaurus, we're also getting a 1956 Rodan figure. Yeah, that honestly, I was really surprised at that. And honestly, looking at the figure itself, like these are some of the promotional images, but at the same time, when you see the ones in hand, they're obviously different from one another. Like you can see the wings from the promotional pictures of Rodan. It has more of like a hinge sort of mechanism going on right there. So it was honestly really interesting. And then when you see it in hand, like this is a screenshot I took from a tour review. As you can see, Rodan's wings don't really have that sort of mechanism. So it's honestly pretty interesting that we have that going on. But yeah, as you can see, speaking of promotional images, here's Gorosaurus, of course. I honestly really love this, and I'm going to say it again. It looks like Ururu from from Dinosaur War. Like straight up, just look at this. It's straight up Ururu. I don't know. Like I'm honestly kind of thinking of buying two Gorosauruses just so I could customize that one to make it look like Ururu. Like I don't know. But anyway, just the design of Gorosaurus alone is really awesome. The whole like design it like there's gonna be those freaking like fucking fancy Godzilla fans out there being like, I don't know, the design, the sculpt, it doesn't look like Gorosaurus. I prefer sucking the living cock out of the vintage Gorosaurus figure, or fucking waiting for the freaking the new Bandai Gorosaurus figure. Like, I don't know about this one. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, please shut the fuck up. These are toys, and they look fine. Okay, they're. In the end of the day, if you don't want them, you don't have to get them. Don't complain and bitch about the way they look. Because honestly, at the end of the day, like I said just now, these are toys. All right. I personally think that they look all right. I really do love the sculpt and the Rodan sculpt for Gorosaurus and Rodan. Like, they both look great. I honestly, like, maybe not entirely accurate, but at the same time, you see these figures, it's Gorosaurus and Rodan. No matter what you say, no matter what kind of shit you want to say about it not being like, it's not very accurate to the movie, shut the fuck up and just buy these toys or fuck off, alright? Like, it's simple. It's simple right there. Anyway, but yeah, over time, you see these, some of the newer Playmates figures actually have, I don't know if it was probably the tour reviews, but they really had something to do with it, because I remember one time someone was like critiquing on some of the Playmates toys, and they mentioned how the figures or the toys themselves, they have like a hard plastic. Well, they sort of fixed that with some of the newer Playmates Godzilla toys, such as Jet Jaguar, Burning Godzilla, Gorosaurus, and Rodan, of course. Yeah, their heads have a soft plastic material. I wouldn't know that, of course, but I'm speaking in a way where, like, from what I've heard from some of the tour reviews I've seen, is that apparently the heads, the arms and legs, and the separate tail are the only parts that are soft plastic, while the body is more of a hard plastic. It's still in a way like I don't know how to say it, soft, I guess you could say, but it still has that more it still has that durability on it. So when it comes down to it, those figures, that's pretty much when it comes to like some of the newer figures. So in a way, Playmates did hear out the critiques, and of course they also clearly heard the people saying how, like, oh, we definitely didn't steal that sculpt from NECA with their Shin Godzilla figure. Oh no. Obviously they did, and of course they're not. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be doing that anymore. So yeah, that's a plus right there. So anyway, that's pretty much it when it comes to Playmates toys. Honestly, at this point, you know, from what I've seen from Playmates, they really just started off really bad, but obviously over time they're starting to redeem themselves with certain Godzilla toys and all that. So I'm really am just I guess you could say proud of Playmates for hearing out the fans and improving on their toys. I guess you could say. So yeah, I really am looking forward to other toys that they have planned out for, such as Megalon, and hopefully, fingers crossed, a King Kong 1933. That'll be really awesome. I really hope that is the case. So yeah. So other than that, though, guys, that is gonna end it off there for the episode 2 of this podcast. Um, yeah, other than that though, guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed me ranting on about certain topics. Like I mentioned before, this is something that I want to do, just rant, talk about things that I just really love enjoying, and of course wanted to discuss a bit about other things. But for this episode, I wanted to discuss about Revice and Kamen Rider and Sentai, and of course Playmates toys, the Playmates Godzilla toys. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed listening to me rant all about fucking toys and guys in spandex and masked helmets riding bikes and kicking shits, whatever. So anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next podcast or next video if I do make a video. Anyway, see you guys in the next one, and sayonara.